I want to thank fantasychamps.com for sponsoring today's episode. If you need a fantasy football trophy, let me tell you what they got over there. They have a crystal championship trophy, and when you buy it for your league, not only is it engraved with your league name, but you get all the previous champion plaques engraved for free. They've got a fantasy football championship trophy in gold. They have a single trophy. So let's say you just want to give one trophy to the winner of your league. They have silver fantasy football trophies in small and large sizes. They've got an armchair champions trophy. And you'll be interested in this, Jason, a loser's trophy.
Oh!
So you can go to...
I believe I'm beating you in the listener league right now.
Yeah, you are. Maybe you need to buy it for me then.
There you go.
fantasychamps.com. Use the promo code BALLERS when you head over there. Again, that's fantasychamps.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the Redraft Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome back. It's Monday, November 6th, 2017, and I'm pretty sure Mike has his Christmas tree up already.
You are 100% correct.
Yep. Yeah, when that calendar rolls over to November.
Yeah, all these people are like, slow down with the Christmas. It's not even... Get out of my face is what I say to that. It's holly, it's jolly up in here.
Hold off on your fun with your family.
Yeah, I mean,
keep that down to 1 month a year.
How dare you? You haven't even eaten turkey yet.
Yeah. No, the best holiday is coming up. I've extended it to 2 seasons. The Halloween people, look, I don't crap on the Halloween people. As soon as fall rolls around, like, ooh, Halloween, fine, enjoy your Halloween. But now it is my time to shine. It is Christmas time.
I'm right there with you. Usually the day after Halloween is put up Christmas stuff.
Real quick, guys, what about Christmas music? What's the rule with playing
Look, Christmas music.
It's already on in my house.
Yeah, I was going to say, Christmas music in stores, that's too early. You can't bombard everybody. But in my home, I've already been playing it.
Well, what are you going to play? I mean, they don't have Thanksgiving music.
Right.
Too early.
It'd be delicious.
Wait till after Thanksgiving.
Now, Mike is traditionally known as a bit of a strange man around the holidays anyway, because you don't do the big like turkey Thanksgiving, right? You do this.
It's really
Jack in the Box.
It's overrated. Thanksgiving, it's meal. The entire holiday is very overrated.
I can hear people turning off.
This is where we agree to disagree.
That's perfectly fine.
Shame on you. I'm the food expert.
Big fan
here,
of turkey
okay?
over here to my right.
I prefer ham to turkey, but you are still correct. Big fan of turkey and all meats.
All right, welcome to the podcast. We are here. It's Monday. A lot of, this week in fantasy, I don't know if I've ever seen so many complete dumpster fire tweets sent my way where teams just happen to have that combination of all the same players that poop their pants. I mean, it seems like if you lost big this week because you were counting on a Shady McCoy or somebody of that, stature that let you down in a big-time way. Doug Martin was on rosters. A lot of these players that maybe you thought were going to have a big week. I've seen some pretty low scores from teams that had some bad luck, but we're going to get into all of the studs, all of the duds.
This week we might need a section of who got in a fight.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to bring up. This was
Get it together, people.
I mean, goodness gracious. I felt like every game there was this massive brawl.
Carlos Hyde got ejected.
Yep.
AJ Green got ejected. And
Mike Evans should have been ejected.
Yeah.
There were so many fights. Although what dawned on me on my drive in today was all the fights happened with, pretty bad teams. Teams very teams that are frustrated and disappointing. The Bengals were supposed to be good. They stink. The Buccaneers were supposed to be good. They're awful. The Cardinals, this is their final year. Now they're terrible. You know what I mean? It's like every team that's frustrated with where they're at, they were letting their emotions hang on their gloves that were punching helmets.
I was just leaving him. I didn't know where he was going, what cliche was coming.
That was quite the ride. Thank
All right,
you.
Quick question of the day. I think it's a great one. I made it up myself. Is that accurate? No, this is Brooks' question.
Lie. No, I think it's Kyle.
Okay.
Gianni.
The Borgogan.
It's an interesting debate. Would you rather have rest of season Alvin Kamara or Kareem Hunt?
Woo!
Rest of season. Now, I think it's interesting because I think it's a look into early season bias, in my opinion, which we've talked about a lot. Players that come out and they explode in week 1 and week 2, and what that does to your psyche and how you view that player forever. Because I wanted to do this question because of this. I think the answer is Alvin Kamara. And I think when I heard this question, I naturally said, well, obviously it's Kareem Hunt.
Right.
And that's why I think it's an important question.
Let me lay the groundwork out for your argument here in the sense that, so from week 3 on, after those first two.
Did we read the question?
What?
Yes.
We
yes.
did. Okay.
Yeah.
Brooks,
Yeah,
get
Brooks.
Just forget
mind your
me,
business,
guys.
Brooks.
Ejected!
I will fight you. So from week 3 on, after those two big monster games, keep in mind Kamara had a great week 3.
Monster games for Kareem Hunt, you're speaking of.
Yes, for Kareem Hunt. From week 3 on, that's a large sample. Week 3 through week 9, Kareem Hunt is the number 5 running back, while Alvin Kamara is the number 4 running back, ahead of him since week 3. And if you only look at the games since Adrian Peterson has been gone, Alvin Kamara is the number 3 running back, whereas Kareem Hunt over the last 3 weeks is the running back 14. So there is some of that first opening season bias leaking in for sure.
Yeah, and 17.2 points per game since the Peterson trade for Kamara in a half-point league, 12.8 points per game for Hunt. Hunt hasn't scored a touchdown in a long time. And here is why I think Kamara is the right answer. And they're both still, I mean, Jason just gave you the numbers. This is the number 4 and 5 since week 3. I think Kamara is the right answer, and I think it comes down to the head coach. Andy Reid, for all of his great offensive mind, has a tendency to lose sight of his running back, and we saw it with Jamal Charles at times. We saw it with Kareem Hunt yesterday. 9 carries in a game against a very beatable Dallas defensive front. Whereas Peyton's history, Sean Payton, New Orleans Saints coach, and his history of utilizing weapons in the passing game, running backs in the passing game, is so long-term and sustained that I have more confidence in Kamara's week-to-week performances than I do Kareem Hunt's, with him not getting into the end zone.
To back up that statement of the coaching, check this out. Since Adrian Peterson has been gone, I said that Alvin Kamara was the number 3 running back in all of fantasy football over these last 3 weeks. The number 2 running back is Mark Ingram. I mean, the running backs, the tandem of Ingram and Kamara are to be the number 2 and number 3 running back of all teams, and you're on the same team. That's pretty impressive. Now, all that being said, I am still Kareem Hunt on this answer, and the reason is the touchdowns, because it's not like Kareem Hunt has been bad since those opening 2 weeks. He's been over 100 yards in most of the vast majority of
the
his
past
games.
2 weeks.
The last 2 weeks were the first 2 times that he has not been over 100 combined yards between rushing and receiving. But you have Kamara over that stretch. He's got 5 touchdowns where Kareem Hunt's got no touchdowns. And I don't expect those trends to just stay on that track. The volume is still siding with Kareem Hunt. But it's an interesting, fair question. Where do you stand, Mike?
I think I'm with you, that I still lean Kareem Hunt. It's very close, but your argument is exactly where I would go. It's those touchdowns. If Kareem Hunt had just gotten 3 touchdowns, which based on his workload, that's kind of like that positive regression or return to the mean, whatever you want to call it, he should have had at least 2 touchdowns in that time period, statistically speaking. So I think that the touchdowns will return for Kareem Hunt, and he'll continue to be dominant.
It's very interesting because we are coming off a season in which Spencer Ware had that positive regression, return to the mean argument coming into the season. So now you're going on 2 years where, look, this is the Andy Reid gets cute argument, where Andy Reid is lining up Demetrius Harris on the outside, and then it's Travis Kelce on the. I mean, this happened yesterday. Alex Smith, Travis Kelce, threw him the ball from the 2-yard line. It's an interesting argument. I think you're going to be in good shape with both players, and I think the message that people want to hear right now is, do you panic on Kareem Hunt? And both of you are vehemently saying no way.
I would not.
All right, let's go ahead and get into the rewind.
Weekly Rewind.
You can follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers, and we also invite you to check out our fantasy football community at jointhefoot.com. A lot of good stuff going on over there. You'll be able to peek into some premium resources that'll help you towards your playoff push. Playoffs. But let's look into the news. Jameis Winston aggravated the shoulder injury in Sunday's game, was out for the second half. I would say like 9 times out of 10 when that situation happens, a re-aggravation of an old injury, you miss part of the game, they miss the next week.
Yeah, I expect him to miss the next week. Man, he bodied my fantasy teams. I had him in many places.
It is
on Sunday.
It is incredibly ironic.
Those teams did not win, by the way.
Yeah, it's just incredibly ironic that the week before this, you were worried about him being able to re-injure that injury, and you said you're not willing to start him. And he didn't re-injure it.
The 2 weeks ago when he destroyed the Bills?
When he destroyed the Bills and was like, oh, and now you're like, okay, you could trust him. Nope.
Yeah, well, I mean, he got the bear hug sack where he got slammed right onto the shoulder. Yeah, so, I mean, rough injury. Expect to be without him for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks.
I want to stay there. Tampa, their season is struggling along. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, if he starts, how does that affect the skill position players in Tampa? Because you have Evans and Deshaun Jackson. Jackson has found no rapport with Winston whatsoever this year. Jackson was the most targeted receiver this past weekend, but that was like, not a high acclaim situation. You had, I think, 3 catches. So Ryan Fitzpatrick, a willingness to throw the ball downfield. This team struggling. Do you do anything to Evans and Jackson?
No, they get to take on the Jets at home next week. Ryan Fitzpatrick, with the full week of practice, is competent. We saw him lead that, kind of the almost big comeback against the Cardinals a few weeks ago. He's good enough to carry the skill players for a week or two.
Dez Bryant, sprained ankle, got his right ankle rolled up on, attempting to make his 7th catch in the game. Went to the locker room. Terrence Williams also tweaked his knee. What's the initial word on Dez?
So Rappaport did tweet out that Dez Bryant's injury is not considered anything to worry about. But Dr. David Chow, we've brought up his name several times on this. He's a sports doctor. He looked at the mechanism of the injury, and he does have his concerns that it looked like a high ankle sprain, which that would be bad news. I mean, you're talking multiple weeks, so I don't want to sound any panic alarms, but I am slightly concerned about Dez Bryant's availability this weekend.
All right.
This upcoming one.
Eddie Lacy exited week 9 with a groin injury, if you couldn't figure that out already. This was the week where you thought maybe he'd have some opportunity.
And it was happening.
Yeah.
It really was happening.
He looked pretty good in the very beginning of that game, and then
C.J. Anderson, another terrible week for C.J. Anderson. Keep trade cuts C.J. Anderson.
I'm still keeping C.J. Anderson. I mean, he left the game with an ankle injury, and I think that was really what held him back. Not to mention the combination. I said before this game I'm not playing him, and that was with a healthy C.J. Anderson for the whole game because the Eagles' rush defense has just been unbelievable. So I'm definitely holding him. Are you cutting him, Andy? Trading him?
I'm willing to cut him.
If C.J. Anderson was on the waivers,
I'm willing to cut him if I need to get somebody else this week. I mean, he's been in low single digits 3 out of 4 weeks. He's sharing. He's part of a 3-headed monster on a terrible offense and team that's 3-5. And so I'm trying not to stay attached to him. I know you guys are more attached than I am.
Yeah, the thing about rage cutting C.J. Anderson, because that's my timeline. My tweets are hot with I want to drop C.J. Anderson. Who are you going to pick up to replace C.J. Anderson, though, who is still technically
if I could get Damian Williams, I'd pick him up.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, one of the Dolphins running backs, okay. But is there anyone else this week who is going to emerge as a hot waiver pickup? Or you're like, okay, I'm going to definitely drop C.J. Anderson for that guy.
Well, we can talk about that tomorrow
Sure.
and make that decision. He's not a cut in all circumstances. That would be foolish. Ryan Griffin, concussed.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz didn't play. Surprised not play.
Yeah. I hope you paid attention on Sunday morning.
Yeah, it
There
was crazy. Jamison Crowder didn't play. Jordan Reed didn't play. Jeremy Hill was a surprise inactive, got injured before in warm-ups. And then
Leonard Fournette.
the big one, Leonard Fournette, he didn't take a picture with the team, and so they wanted to jeopardize their season by benching him.
I mean,
Well, it was more than just the picture with the team. He had missed a couple of team meetings, continually arriving late to things, and then when he missed that picture was just kind of the
icing on the cake.
Yeah, and look, Doug Marrone wants to establish a culture. Tom Coughlin is, the old school, do it the right way, and this worked. I mean, they were able to run the ball just fine. They got the victory, and they sent a message saying, you're going to be part of the team. You're not getting superstar status like you did, I'm sure, since 6th grade.
Since birth.
Yeah, since birth, and you came out weighing 32 pounds with a full mouth of teeth. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was a good move, but I'm happy that it was unrelated to the ankle injury. When I first saw that message come across and it said Leonard Fournette out, I went, oh, no. But just suspended for conduct detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a silver lining, it's another week for the ankle after he had the bye and the week before. So you were not happy if you were scrambling, and hopefully you had Ivory already as the Fournette owner based on the injury history, but if you didn't, you were scrambling a little bit. And we need to pay attention next week, the A.J. Green fight specifically. A.J. Green, I would say it's at least 50-50 that he gets suspended.
His form was pretty decent.
On the double takedown?
On the takedown.
The whole thing. I mean, he
didn't get his hooks in.
Right, that's
true.
true.
You got to get the hooks in. The punching to the back of the helmet, that's really bad form.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what you're trying to do.
It hurts your hand.
You got to go to the neck.
I can't tell you from experience if it hurts your hand because I'm not stupid enough to punch someone in the helmet.
It's unbelievable.
I'm just
that people
assuming
do
that it hurts your hand.
Every fight in the NFL, someone tries to punch a dude in the helmet. What are you doing?
You gotta rip the helmet off.
Rip the helmet off or go to the body.
I mean, a headbutt. A headbutt would make sense.
Yeah, maybe, probably.
You'd both be concussed, and then you'd miss a game that way.
Aqib Talib has it right. I mean,
the eye gouge.
Yeah, it's like, what else are you going to do? That's terrible.
So
we do not condone the behavior.
Regardless. So
Fantasy Footballers does not condone.
A.J. Green, I think that he will be suspended because it's
over the top.
It was over the top. I mean, you had
never seen anything like it.
You had 2 body slams, 2 separate sessions of punching. It wasn't I take him down and punching, okay, the fight's over. It's no, I'm getting back in the scrum and I'm going to continue to punch. So I think that Green will be suspended.
And body slam via rear naked choke.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to just come at you. It was like, I'm coming up behind you.
Right.
I'm going to choke you. I'm going to slam you and punch you. It was so weird, too, because A.J. Green has never represented
A.J. Green
himself.
lost.
Oh, Jalen Ramsey's just destroying people's brains. I mean, he is getting in the head of opposing wide receivers and frustrating them to no end.
I want to circle back to Kareem Hunt here. What percentage of snaps did he play in Week 9? Do you guys know the answer to this?
I do know. I don't know the exact number, but I know it was his lowest. It was in the mid-50s, I believe.
54% of snaps, lowest of the season. And there's some talk that they're limiting the rookies' reps. And that's, you don't want him to hit that rookie wall.
Well, the bye week
could
not come at a better time then.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Any other news that you guys want to talk about before we get into the studs?
Just pay attention for a Mike Evans possible suspension. Jameis Winston completely instigated a fight which Mike Evans came in to back up his friend, threw punches, so he's under watch. And
friends don't let friends back you up and get suspended.
Well, don't poke the bear in the back of the helmet. I don't know, whatever. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. Just play football.
Is that your parenting coming into play there?
It might be. Well, no, my parenting is to get the hooks in. You got to have proper form.
All right, hey, before we move on to the Stud Muffins, want to thank Pristine Auction for supporting this podcast. On Pristine Auction yesterday, here's what you got. You got an Evan Ingram signed jersey, $68. Amari Cooper signed jersey, $63.34. LaDainian Tomlinson signed mini helmet, $78.
Nice.
Got a Mike Evans signed jersey for $92. You got Jerry Rice on there for $97. And I'm reading you a couple because they have hundreds of daily auctions on pristineauction.com. It's completely free to join up and browse the auctions, make it a part of your daily routine. You can see amazing deals like this. 2 Lev Bell signed jerseys, $84 and $75 yesterday. It's an auction, so you can snag one at a cheap price.
Dude, there is a signed Raiders Bo Jackson helmet right now.
That was
Well, not anymore.
Yeah, when you said Jerry
incredible.
Rice in the 90s, that's unbelievable.
So check it out, pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com.
And hey, listen, if you are hiring, I used to run a business where this is where, Andy and Mike, we all got connected. Hiring was the most critical part of succeeding as you grow. If you are hiring, you need to look at ZipRecruiter to do your hiring. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards with one single click. Then ZipRecruiter puts its smart matching technology to work, and they actively notify the candidates about your job, within minutes of posting so that you receive the best possible matches. And that's what makes them different. Other sites, they depend on the candidate finding your job. ZipRecruiter finds the candidates for your job, and that's why 80% of employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate through the site in just 1 day. So it's the smartest way to hire. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses all different sizes and industries to find the most qualified job recruiters. Right now, you could try it for free, completely free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/footballers. That's ZipRecruiter.com/footballers.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
All hail King Goffrey.
Oh,
Jared Goff, have a game, son.
stream of the week.
Yeah, stream of the week. No.
I played him.
Where's your toot? There you go.
Well, I mean, I'm no Jason Moore with the toot.
But you were right there. 14 for 22, 311,
That's really fair.
and 4. And I'll be darned, he even threw it to that former first rounder. What's his name again? Sammy Watkins?
Oh yeah. How does that Sammy stack taste today, Andy?
You could have gone with a really strong sandwich.
Sandwich.
Yeah, a sandwich.
Ooh.
How did you not see that? It was
I
there.
didn't
It was right before
it
you.
was. I'm starving now.
And with food.
I know. I let my fans down, and
You let your family down.
I was ready to come in and ridicule you on your Sammy Watkins hype, but, a 90,000-yard pass. I mean, that ball, I can't stop watching that highlight. Goff, he lit it up, and this team is playing great. They're 6-2. They've got Arizona and Seattle playing head-to-head on Thursday Night Football in Arizona. If by chance the Cardinals were to win that home game, I don't know who Seattle is right now. They're 1 week they're amazing on offense. The next week they don't know what they're doing. They could have a 2-3 game lead in this division. I mean, it's been amazing to see the difference between Jeff Fisher and Sean McVay.
I was going to ask
more about Sean McVay or less or more about Jeff Fisher.
I was going to ask, does Jeff Fisher watch these games and say, "Well, why couldn't they play like this when I was the coach?"
yeah, oh my goodness.
Or does he go, "Wow,
I'm really bad."
that's some innovative offense right there"?
No, he does the first. Here's the thing. I'm looking forward to next year when teams – there's a lot of coaches that need to be fired right now. I mean, a lot. And next year, people are going to follow the trends that the Rams have set with Sean McVay, and we're going to see like some 29-year-old hired and thrown to the wolves. It reminds me of like the Water Boy where –
Oh, they go get the
towel boy.
The towel boy.
But, yeah, I mean, Sean McVay, he's been great. And kudos to the Rams. I was not a believer early, certainly not in the offseason. Didn't even like the hiring of Sean McVay. I will happily eat the crow. They really look like a legitimate team, son of bum, managing the defense. And their scoring margin is the best in the league, I believe.
Yeah.
They're the highest scoring team in the league, yeah.
I'm saying the margin.
The margin, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's been amazing. So Jared Goff, long-term viability here rest of the season?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Carson Wentz said, hey, come on down, Denver. Come into Philly. I'm going to light you up. 199 and 4.
Nobody throws 4 touchdowns on the Denver Broncos. But in fairness, he did lose his number 1 target before the game in Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I bumped Carson Wentz from about 6 to 10 before the game because of Zach Ertz going down. And Wentz said, you're a fool.
Yeah, Trey Burton filled in nicely for Ertz, made a couple big plays.
Jeffrey had a game helping him out.
And Carson Wentz, look, he played pretty well. But his touchdown ratio is unbelievable. With 199 yards and 4 touchdowns, can he really keep this up? Can he keep this up for the rest of the year?
Yes, he can.
These are like
he's not going to be throwing 4 touchdowns.
Outlier numbers.
He's not going to be throwing 4 touchdowns a game, but this is the thing about this is
this
you
is
saw
a full level up.
And you saw exactly what, when we were talking about this matchup, the fact that he could find himself in short fields due to Brock Osweiler turnovers and have an easy touchdown where the yardage is low and the touchdowns are high. This was predictable. I mean, we literally predicted that.
I'm just saying a 7.9 touchdown percent.
He's only thrown for more than 300 yards in 3 of the 9 games that they've played. And the last 4 games, which he's had 3 touchdowns, 4, 2, 4, they've all been 268 yards or lower. And so, yes, Mike is right. Hyper efficient. I think a willingness to throw the ball in the red zone plays into that. The trust that they have in Carson Wentz, his decisiveness in the red zone.
Could Jay Ajayi change that? Could that give them more of a...
Yeah.
I don't think so, but look, I'm not going to doubt Carson Wentz. I don't think it's worth that discussion. He's going to end up being, after this week, I believe the #1 quarterback in fantasy. I think he'll pass Alex Smith this week in total points. And it's just been impressive. Tyrod Taylor, Jay Cutler, Dak Prescott, and Russell Wilson all had big stud muffin weeks. Jay Cutler, do you read anything into that 34 for 42 performance? Got Carolina, Tampa the next 2 weeks in Carolina.
Of course, Jay Cutler finally comes through the week after he's coming back from his busted up ribs.
Welcome to his whole career.
Yeah, I'm not Carolina, no thank you, but Tampa Bay possibly.
Alvin Kamara, Corey Clement, Matt Forte, a monster week, his first 2 touchdowns of the year. Gurley was great. Let's talk about Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah,
let's talk about Corey Clement. Clement was one of those players. He sticks out, and we have our rising stars on the show today. And I was like, oh, maybe I should go with Corey Clement. I was like, no.
Yeah.
He's going to be my pump the brakes.
Yeah, okay, good. I think he's a great player. He succeeded. He over-succeeded with the opportunities.
Never heard that one before.
He was given over-succeeded?
No.
Yeah, that's a new thing.
Okay. How would you phrase that?
Overperformed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Sure.
That was like, oh, yeah, you try. Okay.
That was like when you did the ping pong sound properly.
Right.
Whatever. Overperformed. Over-succeeded. Tomato. Corey Clement was great, but Jay Ajayi also over-succeeded with his work, and he's going to take over the starting job. So I'm not reading into this as
that's similar to our podcast. We've over-succeeded here.
Certainly, and I will. The heels are already in, fellas.
Yeah, no, this is not going anywhere. We are gonna over-succeed for the rest of this season. That is for sure. Oh yeah, Mom's gonna be proud.
Marshawn Lynch, 2 touchdowns, and he actually ran well in this game. He was over 4 a carry, which for Marshawn this season has been a struggle. They won the game. I think this was kind of a resurgence because if Lynch's carries kept going down, you saw some success from the other guys, but he was the best running back on the team last night.
Yeah, he certainly was, but I mean, it was a weird game for the Oakland Raiders. Their best wide receiver yesterday was not a wide receiver. It was Jared Cook, the tight end. I mean, who was balled out, but it was a strange game. But Marshawn Lynch, hopefully this has convinced people now that you can't drop him.
Right. No, that's a great point.
And I know it's easy to say that after a big game, but coming into this, we were saying you can't drop people like Marshawn Lynch, who, even though they're underperforming right now, they're still giving you points, and those kinds of points and opportunities at the running back position are very hard to find.
Yeah, C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Rob Kelly, 2 touchdowns. He's in the same category where he needed to be rostered. People sometimes question, that's who they want to run the ball in Washington. Just to be clear, that's who they want to run the ball. It's just a matter of getting him healthy.
P. Ryan had another incident.
A fumbling incident?
Yeah, he was actually getting in because Rob Kelly he's still dealing with that ankle injury. The team talked about, okay, we're going to limit Rob Kelly's reps against Seattle. It's a brutal matchup. P. Ryan actually got in the game, which if you look back through their other games when Rob Kelly and Chris Thompson are handling work, P. Ryan doesn't see the field. And then there was a fumbling incident during a handoff, and then it was Rob Kelly time again. They forced him back out.
Adrian Peterson, also known as the new Cedric Benson, 37 carries, 159 yards. He actually lined up as a wide receiver on a play, caught a pass, 2 for 8 in targets.
Did you know that was Adrian Peterson's career high in carries? That's insane.
Give him more. I don't want Drew Stanton throwing the ball in Arizona.
Well, he's going to be
Seattle.
Yeah, not only Seattle next week, but I'm sorry, Adrian Peterson after 37 carries in a short week.
Stop
for Thursday night. No.
I'm playing him on Thursday, no doubt.
No chance. I'm writing it down right now. AP pump breaks.
He will have 30 plus carries in that game.
I don't know if they'll
have the opportunity.
I don't know if they'll be able to. They'll want to.
We'll have look, it's Seattle, but it's the game's in Arizona, and Adrian Peterson is the entirety of this offense. They're going to give him every single chance. And here's what you saw with Adrian Peterson in this 49er game. Yes, we expected success against the 49ers. He wasn't having success early. The first half of this game, he wasn't having a lot of success. He wore the defense down in the prototypical, and then he had 18-yard run, 25-yard run, chunk.
He had 78 yards at halftime rushing, so I think he was doing just fine in the first half.
Yeah, but the big runs all came in the second half.
Well, because that's what Adrian Peterson does. Just will the Cardinals be able to go with that game script
against the
Seahawks?
Seattle. Yeah,
Damian Williams, Kenyon Drake, talk about him.
Yeah, look, this is for better or worse. I think that part of it was the matchup. Okay, you're going up against Oakland, who has not been a very good defense at all through the passing game or the rushing game, and so we don't want to overreact here. We don't want to say, okay, these two guys are weekly starters for sure, but I think this was a good move to get rid of Jay Ajayi to open up the offense because they weren't using Jay Ajayi in the passing game the way that Adam Gase and the way that Jay Cutler used to use with Matt Forte. They don't run him that way. Both backs now were used that way. Kenyon Drake had 6 receptions, and he wasn't the leader in receptions. That was Damian Williams with 7 receptions out of the backfield. That's a whole different style of offense that worked for Jay Cutler. I mean,
Damian was 6'2".
Yeah, he was.
They were both. He just
6?
had more. Yeah, they were both 6 receptions. Damian Williams had more yardage and the touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
which the touchdown,
12 receptions out of the backfield is
that was
something
a beast.
that you can't see with Jay Ajayi.
That was a beast touchdown.
I guess we'll be talking a little bit more about Damian Williams here in a minute. T.Y. Hilton went bananas. By the way,
it's great to see T.Y. Hilton come back. Also, playing the role of the possum.
That was amazing
on that incredible touchdown where he does the jump cut, lay down.
The defense passes him by, and then he gets up and runs.
Yeah,
the rest
to
of
have the actual awareness to be laying there and not hear the whistle, because I mean you're down as a football player. The defense around you, I feel like your instincts is to be okay. Let's regroup, next play. But to actually get up and run,
that's good on the official for not blowing.
Yeah,
the whistle.
It was.
Hey guys, is there anywhere to go to have a chance to win a signed T.Y. Hilton jersey? That'd be really cool.
It's a good time to win it.
Are you in the market, Brooks?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. You go to footclangiveaway.com. I'll give you one if you win.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brooks. Doug Baldwin, look, he's apparently, according to this, he's got 77 receptions for 108 yards.
Brooks, you come in here.
It's a monster game.
You get to hype up the Foot Clan giveaway, and we go immediately into a horrifying mistake.
Unfortunately, only 1.4 yards per catch on those 77 receptions. So he has 108 yards and a touchdown. Look, Baldwin's one of my favorite second-half players.
Every year.
Yeah, every year is true, but I mean, we said this last week. Like, I'm just really excited for Baldwin. We said don't overreact to Paul Richardson. At least that was my take, was don't overreact to Paul Richardson. Richardson had a down week, but Baldwin's always involved. He always finds his if you play against Doug Baldwin, it's really annoying, which I've had to do multiple times this year. And because he's always open. I mean, he just gets open. I don't understand how he disappears in the secondary.
Every time I see him on my opponent's team, I know that Doug Baldwin's going to go off. It always happens.
Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins put together a game. 6 for 86 and a touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown multiple times at the end of that game. Tom Savage finally threw one, so he hung it on the wall, put that ball on the wall.
Is this accurate? Are these target numbers correct? I'm going to vet these.
Yeah, it is.
It took 16 targets
to get his six receptions. And to be honest, it's going to take that every single week because Tom Savage is horrific. He is as bad a quarterback as is in the league right now. I mean, he's immobile. I mean, when I was watching the game, Andy, you were watching the game for the first 90% of the game. You felt like you lost DeAndre Hopkins. You're a Hopkins owner because Tom Savage can't get him the ball in a good enough way for him to catch the ball, make a play on the ball. Yes, he had a great touchdown reception, but I don't think you're going to want to bank on Hopkins getting a touchdown every week from Tom Savage, who threw his first touchdown of his career.
Savage was he threw 19 for 44, 43% completion percentage.
Oh man! And this was a good matchup against the Colts. Yeah,
it's a kind of a mixed bag of emotions with the Hopkins thing because, I mean, the fact he got to throw the ball that many times, the fact that Hopkins had 16 targets. I mean, I'd rather have him 16 targets. Even if he only catches 6, then pulling those targets down and all of a sudden,
certainly
he's not relevant. But
Rams, Arizona, Baltimore. That's the next 3 matchup for Hopkins. Would you try to sell high on DeAndre Hopkins right now?
Absolutely. I mean, if I had DeAndre Hopkins, I'm selling him. I'm so thrilled he caught that touchdown because now you can sell him. I mean, that's the way that I view it. Andy, you have Hopkins. Would you rather rely on him in your roster from here on out or try to trade him for a somewhat equal asset that has a better quarterback?
I would try to trade him. I mean, his playoff schedule, you got Jacksonville, Pittsburgh in it, mixed together with Savage, mixed together with these upcoming matchups. He may have afforded you the ability to sell him because of this game. Unfortunately, I agree with you. Alshon Jeffrey had a game. Julio Jones had a game, and he should have had a better game.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
No.
I mean, that was unbelievable.
You have to Google it.
Yeah, if you have not seen Julio Jones' touchdown bomb drop, oh, man. It was
you don't get more open than Julio was. And Matt Ryan threw a ball that was a rainbow. I mean, this is the easiest type of ball to catch. Unless if you've got a defender near you, it's going to be very difficult because the defender is going to have an easy time catching the ball too. It's a lob. And he's wide open, no defender near him, in the end zone, and just drops it. And turns out that was the game. They lost this game by a point margin that they would have won the game if they had another touchdown.
How about that, Alshon Jeffrey?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I pumped the brakes and
sorry.
Wow. I feel bad about that one.
Robert Woods, 4 for 70 and 2 touchdowns on 5 targets. Pump the brakes candidate or somebody you believe in?
You got to pump the brakes on that level of production. But like I said with Goff, long-term sustainability and because he has some very good matchups coming up. So Robert Woods is worth it.
Evan Ingram had another good game, 4 for 70 and a touchdown on 10 targets for the Giants with Sterling Shepard back. However, I have a teeny-weensy bit of concern for Evan Ingram, and it's connected to Eli Manning and his potential benching. Because if this team ends up going the way it's going, they may want to see Davis Webb to see what they have in Davis Webb. And if that happens, I'm not saying Ingram's going to be irrelevant, but you're going to have a little bit of a just a variable there that I'm not excited about. That being said, you're locked and loaded. You're playing Evan Ingram. Jared Cook, Travis Kelce, Julius Thomas all had good weeks. What do you think of the Thomas game? 6 for 84. I mean, it seemed like everybody in Miami had a nice week, except for they lost. I mean, didn't it seem that way? Cutler. Landry had by the way,
Landry wasn't the. He had
scored
the
a touchdown. He's also just broke the record for the most receptions ever in your first 4 years.
Parker was all right. Parker didn't kill you. I mean,
Thomas, Williams, Drake.
Yeah, no, maybe this is a better Dolphins. Once you send a message as a coach, that helps. That being said, again, Oakland Raiders defense.
What was the message? That I'll trade you away?
Yeah, I mean that's literally the message. The message is you buy in,
or you're not playing.
Yeah, or we'll ship you out.
And doing it to a Pro Bowl player like Jay Ajayi, I think that it does send a pretty strong message.
Get out the way, Kelvin Benjamin. Get out of the way, Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
We didn't talk about Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, I'll circle back to that, and then we'll get into our rising stars. But Christian McCaffrey, he actually ran the ball.
Got a rushing touchdown, first of his career.
Over 4 carry. So let's get into the rising stars.
Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week.
All right, who wants to kick it off?
I love Michael Keaton.
Do it. I'm going to go.
All right.
Second.
Okay, then I'll take it from here because we've talked about him enough already. Damian Williams is my rising star. Look, I love Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake is a guy that I think is a talented running back.
He was the better RB.
He was the much better running back. You saw him on that 40-yard rush. It was great. But the thing is with Kenyon Drake, everybody bought Kenyon Drake. And they spent up for him. He was the number 1 waiver wire pick this last week. And you weren't too you were happy with it. But Damian Williams was the starter. He came in and he got the opening drive. And he was much more involved in the passing game and in passing downs before the game got to the situation where you were down 2 scores. It was Kenyon Drake's turn. They were kind of rotating series. And then Kenyon Drake was involved in the passing game because every play was a pass. But I actually believe from just watching the film that Damian Williams is the passing downs back, and that passing work will make him a little bit safer because I don't think the Dolphins are good. I think the Dolphins are, at best a middle-of-the-pack team. And so my point is not even that Damian Williams is going to definitely be better than Kenyon Drake, but he's rising to me because I think Damian Williams stinks. And genuinely, I mean,
there's the elephant in the room I was waiting for.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I was going to ask you. You got to address your, season long.
Nothing has changed.
Not season long.
Yeah, this is life.
This is multiple years.
This is multiple years. Damian Williams is not a good running back. He stinks. I mean, that's just sorry. That's life. He got 7 carries. He got 14 yards out of those 7 carries. It's the passing work that is making me, as a fantasy owner, say, "Oh, he's rising to me." I think this is going to be a guy you can plug in and play and rely on. And that is, I mean, when I say that about Damian Williams, he's a rocket. If I think you can somewhat rely on him, then he is shooting up like, crazy. Does that make sense?
It's true.
Sure.
All right.
You always make sense, Jay.
Mike, you said your second.
I'm going with King Goffrey. 311, 4 touchdowns. Oh, 311. Didn't even make that band reference right there. 4 touchdowns.
Yes, you did. Well, yes, you did.
I apologize. I didn't make the connection until I had to sing the song.
Mm-hmm.
Gets Houston, Minnesota. You don't love it so much, but we're seeing quarterbacks who are playing well, dominating in even these tough matchups. Then gets the Saints, Arizona, Philadelphia. If you picked him up to stream him, I think you have a long-term solution here at the quarterback position. Rams are the highest scoring offense in the league. It's been an incredible turnaround for that team, and I'm bought in. I'm bought into King Goffrey. We lovingly call him that because he is our nemesis, but he's good. He's good for your fantasy team right now.
I'm throwing Cole Beasley's name out there, and I think he's going to be – people are going to pay attention to him because of the 2 touchdowns, and that's not why I'm throwing him out there. I'm throwing him out there because Dez Bryant rolled up that ankle and Terrence Williams rolled up that ankle. And if Williams is fine, you can probably slide Terrence Williams' name in place of Beasley for the rising star of the week. Williams set one of his best games of his career, 141 yards receiving in this game. But if both of those players are hurt, then Cole Beasley is just a necessity to that offense. And he is used around the goal line when Dez is off the field. And so I think Cole Beasley is somebody that you might be able to play in place of a suspended A.J. Green or a bye-week Michael Crabtree, whatever situation you're facing this week.
Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week.
Woo! Yeah.
I think it's almost impossible to tell you how scared that just...
Oh, no. If you're watching YouTube, you can see Mike just rocket 6 feet back.
I almost pooped myself. I mean...
I'm sure some of the listeners did.
Every single one
of
the hairs on my body
man.
are standing at attention.
If you are listening and you pooped yourself, we are going to need an email.
I don't need to exercise today. My heart rate is way up.
I am so sorry that Brooks did that.
What's funny, whatever, interesting, is Cole Beasley, right? 6 targets, 4 receptions, 24 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We've seen this game before. It's called 6 targets for 4 receptions, 23 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Earlier in the year?
Yeah, against Green Bay. It's like the identical stat line except for 1 yard.
Okay, if that last sound drop doesn't make you aware, those were the Raising Cane's Rising Stars of the Week. Remember that game day tastes better with Raising Cane's tailgates full of fresh 24-hour marinated, hand-battered chicken fingers and fresh brewed sweet tea. Visit raisingcanes.com to find your nearest location. I'm going to push the button. 3, 2, 1.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
It doesn't matter if we've done 450, 60 shows. There's still room for improvement.
My soul left my body.
Oh, my God.
I'm sure there's a freeze frame in there where you can see it.
I can't wait to see the YouTube. All right. Hey, let's poop our pants, Andy Dalton. Kirk Cousins against Denver. Or I'm sorry, against Kirk Cousins was up against Seattle.
Yeah, to be fair, we expected both of these. But Kirk Cousins came up clutch with Josh Doxson. Won the game.
Yeah, that was big time. Hard to do that up in Seattle.
Yes,
come back and win
hard.
a game. Andy Dalton, hey there. 10 for 18, 136 yards. A.J. Green leaving didn't help. A.J. Green being there didn't help. And Andy Dalton is now you play him against his Cleveland matchup probably. He's a Cleveland-only
3
QB.
weeks. You make the Christmas the chain link calendar where you tear them off every single week,
right?
And you're counting down until Cleveland. So make 3 rings, ladies and gentlemen, and then you get to play Andy Dalton.
Yeah, I mean he's at home right around Thanksgiving, and that's his. He's going to gobble up points that one game,
Certainly
and that'll be
is.
it.
If he's the starter.
Oh, he'll be the starter.
All right, running backs. You were hurting if you started LaShawn McCoy.
Ugh,
if you were
brutal.
starting Doug Martin, Kareem Hunt, Devontae Freeman. This is the first time this has happened. 11 for 46, but he didn't get in the end zone, and it hurt your fantasy team. Chris Thompson barely saw the field, really. 4 for 20, 4 for 11 in the passing game. Just didn't come to fruition. And DeMarco Murray, I want to talk about him because he's one of my favorite second-half guys. But if you look at this game, he was banged up again.
Yep.
He left the field, went back into the medical tent. There was a period of time when he probably would have been on the field where Derrick Henry got on the field around the goal line. All that being said, despite being off the field for a period of the game, he still outperformed Derrick Henry again in total yardage. And so this backfield, their lack of dependency on the run this year compared to last year, it is a little bit concerning.
The next 2 weeks are not good.
Cincinnati, Pittsburgh, then you got Indianapolis and Houston. I still really like DeMarco Murray towards the end of this year going up against the 49ers in your first playoff matchup, but it does give you some pause because he cannot stay healthy right now. So what do you do? Do you start him next week, or do you – because, he had the injury, maybe he's on the field more. What do you think is the situation that these fantasy owners should – what should he be doing? What should they be doing?
I mean, I think the next 2 weeks with tough matchups against Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, he's going to be one of those. He's not an RB1 and he's not an RB2. He's a flex consideration
Right.
play as you watch his health, his practice reports, because you say, okay, he was banged up this last game. He missed a chunk of the game. Maybe he'll play the whole game and be better this next time. But the narrative can also be he's banged up, and he keeps getting banged up, and he's not getting healthy, and he could miss parts of the next game, or just get fewer carries in order to protect his health. Right now, this is the division-leading Tennessee Titans, and so they are thinking playoffs. They are thinking a little bit longer term. Right now, the next 2 weeks, I'm not wanting to play DeMarco Murray until he looks healthy. I agree with you, Andy. By the season's end, he should be good. He's the clear-cut starter lead back. He's not in a 50-50 timeshare here, but his health has not been there. And he's, getting up there in total career volume and usage and age. So to think that, by the season's end he will be healthy might be a mistake.
All right. C.J. Anderson, Jamal Charles, and Devontae Booker, none of them offered you fantasy value in that backfield. Let's put, moving forward, would you still rather roster Anderson of all those three?
I would.
Of the three of them, yeah.
Alex Collins, kind of laid an egg, 13 for 43, has the bye week coming up. Is he droppable if you need another piece?
If you need another piece because of the bye week, and I think the timing will allow for Woodhead to come back, I would be willing to, but I'm not. Personally, I have some shares of Collins. I'm not going to drop him. I'm just saying, if there's a bye week need and he's on bye, then you do what you have to do.
Have you guys seen anything about Doug Martin?
He left the field, I think, with 8 minutes left or something like that in the third quarter and never played again.
Yeah, but I'm saying,
he got benched. It wasn't an injury.
All right. Well, just checking for injury. And
that's a major concern.
If just the benching was performance related, or if there was something else going on that we don't know about. But 8 for 7.
It's tough in the streets.
You're entertained by that line there.
Because that's impossible.
Well,
that just seems impossible for Doug Martin to run 8 for 7.
I can see Trent Richardson in the corner winking when you said that's
Trent
impossible.
Richardson said,
Hold my beer. Oh, you were there. Jonathan Stewart had a game, 11 for 21 with 2 fumbles. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah.
LeGarrette Blount, 9 for 37. What do you do with Blount?
He will be replaced by J.J.
Yeah, so what do you do? Clement rest of the season?
Oh, that's an excellent question.
Because maybe they play Clement on third down.
I think I lean Clement.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, 1 catch. A.J. Green, 1 catch. Emmanuel Sanders, 1 catch. Dante Moncrief.
Wait, did Emmanuel Sanders be in here? Did Emmanuel Sanders throw any punches?
That was the trend.
No,
yeah. Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so. But
1 catch, 1 black eye.
Will Fuller returned to earth because Savage joined the team.
He had 2 receptions on 8 targets.
Yeah, 25% is about what you can expect on your targets from now on.
My goodness.
So moving forward, you're not really worried about A.J. Green or Mike Evans as long as they're on the field. What about Emmanuel Sanders with that quarterback situation? Brock Osweiler, he's not good. They said Paxton Lynch might start next week.
Yeah, I worry. Look, I've kind of supported C.J. Anderson, but the reason I've said that is because he is still the starter at running back. In general, your point, Andy, that this is a bad offense, it's just true. I'm not really excited about Emmanuel Sanders. Demaryius Thomas had a good game, but I'm not in love with Demaryius Thomas either, or the running backs, because this quarterback situation is a nightmare. So I don't think you can trade Emmanuel Sanders right now, but I'm not sure I want to start him with Brock Osweiler. And then if Paxton Lynch comes in, you will have to go back and watch the tape of the few games we've seen with Paxton Lynch to see, what are his tendencies, and then report back after that.
Mailing. Yeah. Air mailing the ball is his tendency.
You had several players that had big weeks previously. Nelson Aguilar, Paul Richardson. They didn't perform this week. Corey Davis caught 2 passes for 28 yards on 5 targets. He did have a 75% snap share and is clearly the starter there, even though Decker and Matthews outperformed him. Rest of season, which wide receiver would you rather have in Tennessee? Because I would still lean – I would rather have Corey Davis than any of those 3 players.
I would as well.
Between Davis and Matthews, that's a tough call. I probably still lean Matthews.
And then you had Crabtree and Cooper. Both have a down game. They weren't horrifically disappointing the way that Cooper can go just completely.
Well, the 4 targets for Crabtree is extremely disappointing, and it was at the beginning of the game. it seemed like when they were going too wide, it would be Patterson and Cooper. I mean, it was really strange. I know that Crabtree's snap counts by the end of the game still over 80%. It was just the usage was very strange, and the 4 targets for Derek Carr's go-to wide receiver, like we said, everything just went to Jared Cook.
Jared Cook should have been in our rising stars. I mean, the next 3 weeks he's facing the 24th best passing D against tight end, then the 30th, then the 32nd. So
does he get a game? Is he playing the Giants?
Yeah, that's the 32nd.
Oh man,
yeah, exactly. 3 weeks from now, now you need another one of those Christmas ring things. Take off those.
And tomorrow we do have our waiver show. I'm looking forward to talking about some of these guys. You know, one of the players that I think is interesting with Garcon going down is Marquise Goodwin. The targets were there yesterday.
Right.
He's actually, it's crazy. He's near the top of the league in inside the 10 targets. Marquise Goodwin, a guy that you look at as a deep threat only, but he's like kind of the only guy there right now. That's a San Francisco wide receiver. You know, he's like clumped together with like Dez Bryant, Chris Hogan, DeAndre Hopkins, Rob Gronkowski, and there's Marquise Goodwin out of nowhere with these inside the 10 targets.
Hey guys, it's me.
But we'll talk a lot about some options. You know, more bye weeks next week, and we'll get into the waiver wire and some of these other players. If you didn't hear us talk about them today, I'm sure we'll bring them up tomorrow. You can let us know if you have a question on Twitter at the FF Ballers, on the website thefantasyfootballers.com. Good luck in your games tonight. If your weekly matchup is depending on Aaron Jones, Jordy Nelson, Matthew Stafford,
man,
then good luck to you.
yes.
It'll be an interesting game tonight. This one's in Lambeau Field, and so the Lions are 2-point favorites. We'll see what Brett Henley has after a couple of weeks of practice and getting a chance in that offense. You guys have any parting words?
Yeah, this is the type of game where I hope you are already up and hoping that your opponent does not score enough points, as opposed to being the guy that's down,
catching up,
and saying, I want to catch up in tonight's game.
Yeah, I want to see what kind of workload Aaron Jones gets tonight. That'll be fun.
Yes, it will be.
Check out draft.com/ballers if you want to play some DFS with us each and every week. And we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter at the FF Ballers.